Alright guys, it's just a quick one so I can catch everyone up. So this is what we did today. So what you want to go ahead and do is open Epic Games, click Unreal Engine, go to the library and install Unreal Engine 5.7.1. You can do so by clicking the plus icon and this should be 5.7.1, but because I've already got it installed, it's not going to show. But once you've got that, hit install. Let's see if I can. I agree, accept, and install 5.7.1. Once you've got it installed, hit launch. And once this page opens, you just want to ignore all this and go ahead and click New Project. Make sure you have Game selected. Go to Third Person, click this one. Make sure it's Blueprint, Desktop, Maximum, None. Select where you want to save your project. And then name your project something like Unreal Bootcamp. And then hit Create. I've already made the project, so I'm just going to skip ahead to that bit. All you got to do is hit Create. Cool. Okay, so when you have the project open, it should look a little something like this. First thing we want to go ahead and do is press Control and Spacebar at the exact same time, and it will bring up this. Once you see this, hit Dock in Layout, and yours should be down here. Okay, so this is what you should see. What I want you guys to do is right click, new folder, and I'm going to call it underscore game. So the reason I put an underscore is because if I hit enter, first one on the list. Okay, and I don't want to get my projects confused with the default Unreal stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and put everything I personally make into this folder, ignoring all the rest. So open this one, right click, hit new folder, and you want to type in blueprints. And this is where we'll save our blueprints. So once we've done this, we're going to go to the side, click content. We're going to go to third person, blueprints, and we want to select this one. So this is our player character. So if we was to hit play, bear with me 1 second. You don't have to do this. So if I was just to hit play, this is the character you should have. Which is this one. So if I go ahead and drag this character into our blueprint folder that we just created, and we want to copy here. So the reason we don't want to move it is we would like to keep a fresh one as backup. Go to blueprints, press F2 or right click and type rename, click rename. And at the end, I'm just going to put underscore main. This is the more specifically, this is the character I'm going to be using. So once you've done that, you should, we need to basically say to the game, okay, we want to use this character that we just created and not the one we was using originally. So go to Window at the top and click World Settings. And then on the right, you want to scroll down and find Game Mode, and then selected Game Mode, click the drop down, and all we're changing is the default pawn class to our main one that we renamed. Cool. Hit save. Make sure you're always saving actively. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to right click and create a blueprint class. It's going to be an actor. And whenever you file name in Unreal Engine, your blueprint should always be named capital BP underscore and then whatever your blueprint is. So if my example would be a launch pad. Hit enter and open it. So I'm just going to drag this tab and put it next to my level so I can flip between them easier. And in our launch pad, all I'm going to do is I'm going to click add and I'm going to type in cylinder. And I'm going to scale it downwards so it's more flat. So you can click this tool right here. This is the scale tool. So same controls as Maya, W-E-R, Q-W-E-R. So R being scale. And I'm going to untick the snapping because if I was to do it now, it sort of snaps. And if I want it smaller than this, it's sort of not allowing it. So I'm going to tick this one, uncheck it. And now it's not going to snap. Okay, I'm going to make it a bit wider. Okay, so that's what our object is going to look like. But now we need a collision detector. So click add. I'm going to type in sphere collision. And make sure we name our stuff properly. So sphere collision. You should see this. A couple lines. So what you want to do is with sphere collision selected on the right, where it says sphere radius, we're just going to increase that. So make sure it's sort of like the full size of the cylinder. So what we're saying to the game is what's going to launch the character? What's going to make the player bounce? Is it when they're over here? No. So it's when they're overlapping this area. Okay, so once you've done that, hit compile. Go to our event graph. We can drag over this and press delete because we don't need these three. And what we're going to do is we're going to click our sphere collision that we just created on the components on the left. We're going to go all the way to the bottom on the details panel and click on component begin overlap. I'm going to click that plus. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to drag off other actor. So right now anything can overlap it, and this whatever we do here will happen to anything. It'll happen to a bullet, an NPC, anything that overlaps with this actor. I only want the bounce pad to work for the player. So I'm going to drag off other actor, and I'm going to search for cast to third person, and you should see third person character main, the one we just created. Click that one. Keep your spaghetti organized. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to drag off this one, the return value for the character cast, and we're going to search for launch character and create this node. So this is essentially only going to launch this character, and it's only going to happen if this character overlaps this circle, this sphere. So I'm just going to put it at like 500 and on the z-axis because I want it to go upwards. I don't want the player to be pushed left or right or side to side type thing. So I only want them to go upwards. So z-axis. Okay, and just before we finish on this bit, all we need to do is make sure on launch character we tick Z override. Otherwise sometimes it can be a bit buggy. Once you've done that, hit compile, save, go back to our level editor, drag in our launch pads, hit play, and now if I go on the launch pad, it's going to launch me in the air like a trampoline. Okay guys, so once we've got our launch pad, we're now going to make the impulse grenade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click in the content browser in blueprints, create a new blueprint class. This is going to be an actor, and we're going to type in BP underscore impulse grenade. hit enter, open it up. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a sphere and I'm going to scale it so it's a bit smaller, we don't want it too big. So this is the grenade. And we're going to click add again. I'm going to search for sphere collision. Name it sphere collision. And this time what you guys want to go ahead and do is drag this sphere collision on top of default scene root, like so. Cool. Now I'm going to add a, well, let's make this grenade throwable first, okay? So let's go here into our character. I'm gonna right click, type in F key, and then I'm gonna do spawn actor from class. And I'm going to change the class to the impulse grenade. Then you want to right click transform and split the structure. So we should have 3 different pins now. What you guys want to go ahead and do is, so let's make a spawn point for this so it doesn't just randomly spawn out the player. So in the viewport, click add, and we're going to search for scene, or you scroll down a bit, it's right there. So once you've clicked scene, we're going to name this spawn path, and that's spawn position. And we are literally going to move it. I'm going to put it around here. So this is where the grenade is going to spawn for now. Compile, save. Go back to the event graph. Grab the spawn pass. Get world location. Plug that in. And then we want to right click again. And this time we're going to type in get actor rotation. So just before I plug this one in, I'm going to show you in a minute on why this bit is important. So we'll come back to this bit. So go to the impulse grenade, go to the event graph, delete this stuff, we don't need it, and right click and type in event begin play. Now we want to cast to our character, so cast to third person character main. Drag off object and type in get player character. And then we essentially, we want to set physics. In fact, let's get the sphere collision. And now we want to set physics, hate this word. There we go. Set physics linear velocity. Plug that in. Okay. Now, this is just going to essentially give it no speed. So it's just going to spawn in and do nothing. So we need it to fire forward. So we're going to drag off the player. We want the player's forward vector. So get actor forward vector. And we're going to plug that. Before we plug that in, we're going to just drag off the return value and multiply it. We're going to plug the output into new velocity. Right click the multiply, and this time we're going to change it to an integer. And we're going to times this by, let's say, 1000. This is how much force is going behind the throw. Just going to tick add to current, compile and save, and let's just see what happens. So right now, it's just spawning in, it's not doing anything. So this is because we need to actually set the physics. So in your, let's go back to the grenade, click sphere collision, and on the right, you need to scroll down until you see collision presets. And we want to change it from overlap all dynamic. We want to change that to physics actor. Hit compile and save. Now something different should happen, or not. Let me just have a look why. So one key thing we need to do is in our sphere collision, make sure you tick simulate physics, otherwise it won't work. Now if we press play and press F, okay, so we can throw stuff now. We can essentially throw infinite, and they'll never despawn, and that's not good for performance. So what we want to do is, at the end of the grenade, we want to destroy it. So let's go back to our impulse grenade, event graph. Let's add a delay, and let's say 2 seconds. And then on complete, we want to search for destroy actor. So this is going to remove itself from the game. So compile and save, press play. Now if I hit F, it despawns after 2 seconds. Cool. So let's make sure let's actually do something with it. So let's make it explode. So let's give the grenade a chance to land. And what we need to do is click add. And we're going to add a radial force. So this is the node we was thinking about in lesson. So I'm going to change the radial force presets to, let's go into viewport. As you can see, the radial force is crazy big. I'm just going to change it to, let's say, 30. And I'm also going to make my sphere smaller. Okay, so let's go back to radial force and see what else we can do to it. So I'm going to change I'm going to change the radius to something bigger because I just realized that's not very big. Let's try 780. Change riff linear. Scroll down. So impulse strength is how powerful we want this impulse to be. So I'm going to say 5,000. And force strength, I'm just going to set that one to 50 for now. I'm going to make sure I tick impulse velocity change and ignore owner. And let's go ahead and hit compile. Go back to our event graph. And right in between delay and destroy actor, just going to drag off, type in fire impulse. If that doesn't come up, drag the radial force into the event graph, and then drag off that, and then type in fire impulse. And then we're just going to plug that in. Okay, so let's see what that does. So if I shoot this at a wall, it's going to knock me back crazy. Okay, so just FYI, Unreal Engine actually comes with, we go to level prototyping, content, level prototyping, interactable, then target. You can literally spawn these guys in. So we'll use them for our physics. So let's see what happens when we throw a grenade at them. It blows up and then destroys the grenade. Cool, well it's not much of a grenade without an explosion. So let's spawn system at location. So this is the particles. Plug it in. Right in between fire impulse and destroy. I'm going to drag off this location and type in get actor location. Make sure you select this one. And then I'm just going to change this to, let's find a good explosion. That'll do. Radial burst. Cool. Compile, save. Press play, shoot a grenade. Cool, got a little explosion afterwards. Got a bigger explosion, you can change the scale. So we go back to the impulse grenade. We can change this to something like, let's just try 6. Make sure you do it on all axes, otherwise it'll look weird. Play. And now the explosion is a bit bigger. See if we can make it bigger. Might be a bit too big. So you just want to play around with these values until you find something you're happy with. That'll do. Obviously, we can make this a lot more complex. But yeah, we have a projectile that explodes. It also will explode the player. Cool. Let's go back and just make sure this is plugged in. So I've just tested it. You're not actually going to see too much of a difference. However, it is for good practice to make sure your actor is always going in the right rotation. Otherwise, it could shoot behind the player. You know what I mean? It could spawn left, right, anywhere around the player. So it's very important that it does this. Cool. File save, and you're done. So if you missed today, you should be up to date after following this tutorial, and also the only thing you'll be behind on is the diversion, the repo control, which me, Josh, or Brad can set you up with next time we see you. Awesome.